Maybe even let me roll up some joint, eh? All right. Stick around one sec. What do you mean? No what? Oh, just weed? Okay. Straight up weed. All right, I'll be right back. Fuck butts. How about a beer? Can I grab one of those to wash down my weed? All right. Okay. Give me 5 minutes. Can you talk and stuff to the people? Wait, I'm gonna go live and smoke. Oh, really? Why don't you drop me the link, Liquor? Ass Liquor! Why don't you drop me that link? Let me go to your channel, you son of a bitch. You always gotta come over here to the professors. Wow, let me go over there where you are, Liquor. Look at this. You're a little tiny two people. It's just going to be me and you hanging out, you loser. Exactly. Because you suck the bag. You always did. You know you always did since the day you were born. Okay. I'll be right back. Mother, son of a. What? Hang on, I'm rolling a joint. What? Oh my God, no! Hold on. You guys made me rush the whole thing. And I ripped my joint. And I gotta take a piss so bad. And I gotta go back. I got some ripped joints already. I gotta do a little glue repair job on this one. One sec. Hold on! That's not good. Oh, here we go. Unbelievable. And I know camera lady is eating right now and masturbating or fucking getting Gary fucking cream pied. Something. Yeah. And I'm here with a broken joint that's got a hole in it. Fuck. I don't know. I'm gonna just light it up. I'm gonna put my finger over that hole. Try to do like that little, you know how like the bong's got the little hole? There's my joint with the hole. Fuck. Oh my god. I don't even want to think. Hold on. Fucking! Shit! Yeah. I got you. Yeah, yeah. No, fucking everything's falling apart all over the place. Damn it. Yeah. God damn. But it's so easy. It's like sweeping the floor to put everything together. But when you wait a little bit, you see everything all separating all apart. Yeah, it's crazy. I wouldn't mind. The AIDS guy. That's not Shrek. You're not. You're not Randy. Oh yeah. Okay. But does he have the link for guests? Let's go. Oh fuck! I'm not subscribed to him at all. But no, no, I'm reading the chat. It's like Mustard's telling me Bone Breaker's live. Yeah. Who, Mustard? Oh my God, he's just like a player kind of thing, eh? He wants to be your friend and he talks behind everybody's back all the time. He's just like this drama stir up guy or something. He wants to get everybody. He's like fishing, you know. He has his little bait there, and yeah, it's like a sport he's making out of all this shit. I don't understand. I don't know what you know, but he's been two-facing me. He's talking behind my back and doing bad shit. And then he's trying to be my friend while he's doing bad behind. That's what sucks. Uh, but it's not like he has a channel. Like, what is he? Like, what is he? Oh my God, he was just here just a while ago. Yeah, yeah. What the fuck? And it was all kind of whatever. And then he's all like, "This sucks. I'm leaving." Yeah, see, because it did suck, and there's nothing happening. I mean, I would leave too. Shit. Ah, which one? Oh, that one. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. No shit, eh? I know. Do yeah, you know what? He's a fucking total embarrassment, man. Like he shouldn't even. Anytime you guys go, I don't know. He tries to talk like he's all something, but there is nothing good about that guy whatsoever. Yeah. I tried to be nice and friends with him, and he hated me because he got jealous because I'm talented and he's not. So he got pissed off about that. Oh my God, Tricky Dicky and her tits. I like Tricky. Oh no, sorry. No, that's somebody else. No, there was the other Nikki girl. Sorry. Yeah. No, Tricky Nikki, the Beehive guy. Yeah, yeah. What the fuck's up with him, man? He's been quiet all fucking year. Like he's got a whole new life going on. Like he's resetting something. Yeah. What happened? You don't know? Well, wait a minute. Well, no, he had kids and shit, no? But he didn't have a wife or the mother. I don't understand it nowadays with the kids and the parents. Like everything's a fucking circus. Yeah. Shit. So the mother was so old school and fucking kicked him out? Shit. No shit, eh? Yeah. Uh, Rick. Come on, Rick. No, he says that to everybody. If I hang out with um what's his name? Melted Copper, everybody says that to him too. Doesn't matter. Whoever hell hears my guest is like, oh, here's the fucking don't listen, don't worry about it, man. Yeah. Everybody's an idiot. Everybody wants to try to get me on edge. They love it when I get all freaked out or something instead of being mellow, right? They like when I get fly off the handle because then they all clip me and shit. Oh shit! I need an ashtray. Hold on one sec. Okay. Oh, yeah. This is so weird. And then look at the cool, chill, mellow people from the internet. And then there's the other side where they want to stir everything up. They try to pretend, the make believers, the fake friends, just to something. There's some agenda, something up somebody's sleeve, something down somebody's pocket. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks, Rick. Okay, let me check that out. One sec here. See what this is. Is this alive? I don't know. Oh my god. Mustard is over. Oh my god. For real? Watch this. They're gonna fucking hate me. Do you guys hear this? I know. Look how energy. These guys suck, man. When I play my keyboard is way better than all this shit. Oh my god. Now they're trash talking me. Look at this. What? No way. The jazzercise. Oh, come on. This guy, I know you from before. You're not like, you're fine, dude. That's like, everybody, that's like a double stream chat here. let me try. Let me see if I can join there. He's not gonna let me join. That's why I'm gonna stick around here for a sec. Watch. That's not a good fucking thing. All right, one sec. Hang on. Hang on. Everything's fucked up all over. My volume, I don't know. I'm trying to mute. I got so many tabs going on right now. Fuck. I'm trying to find my ashtray. I gotta ash this shit. Look at this. Yeah, hang on, guys. One sec. No, I was making sure this will work or not. I'll switch over. Yeah. All right, I'm switching over, everybody. Oh shit. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna switch over here. See what happens. Thank you, guys. Fuck. Hang on, I got echo. Fuck. How do I stop this shit? Shit, sorry about that, man. That was my fault. I just ended my stream. Look at this. That's a wrap with like all this fucking fireworks and shit. Oh my god, man. StreamYard's gone all crazy. They keep updating this shit.
Damn, the professor fucking ended his show to go on some other fucking retarded channel. No way. Come on. Well, I'm definitely not going over there.
Kneel on so I can do this right here.
Oh, fuck. I think I got a hole. Did we get like
You got a
little
hole.
twig?
You do have a hole. Trek was just in.
No, that like sticks through, and then you got a little fucking
Yeah, he was sticking all in it.
chimney
Yeah.
going on.
He's going to give you his AIDS.
Oh god. Hang on.
Hey,
I gotta
what's
figure out
the-
which way to light this shit.
What's the first sign of AIDS? A severe pounding in the ass.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, Shrek's Johnson isn't very magic. You shouldn't let it around you.
Yeah, they called him Tragic Johnson.
Only
And
magic
he's still
Shrek's
alive.
Johnson
He's
is
like
it'll
80
make you
years
disappear.
old. The AIDS
Well,
was a fucking lie.
The only magic Shrek's Johnson is it'll make you disappear in a few months when your T cell count drops.
Yeah, your white blood cells and
Look
shit.
at who's
Yeah.
talking, dude.
And you can't
Shrek
start
really
healing
looked like
anymore.
white
That's the
cells.
AIDS,
When's
exactly,
the
because
last
you
time
can't
got a
clot yourself
fucking
anymore.
boner,
Well,
fucking-
you know Shrek has AIDS,
I
right?
know.
Nice.
I mean,
Well, I don't know,
legitimately.
but I understand. Yeah.
I see. Where's that AIDS quilt? And he's got a little chair you shit in right beside the place where you eat. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look
That's
at
where everybody
who's
left
talking.
because he was just intolerable.
Yeah, dude, that's why I bailed, man. I can't take that fucking weirdo.
Oh.
Shrek, is he the guy who does that electric drums and shit too?
Yes. That faggot. Yes. That's him.
Okay. I'm trying to put them together now. All right. Yeah, he doesn't really talk much. Yeah.
So that
was-
What the hell you hate him for? He didn't do nothing wrong.
nah, he's weird, dude, and he talks weird about you, which is just
What? Really? I don't know.
Yeah, I've
He's
told
called a
you before,
gatekeeper,
man.
dude. He's called
Yeah.
a gatekeeper. Yeah.
What a faggot.
He wants you to himself because he wants you.
I don't know.
That's why he kicks everybody and talks all that shit, gets you to kick everybody. That's why he does it.
Huh?
That makes a lot of sense, dude, actually.
Because I do the keyboard drums and he comes with the real drums kind of thing. But it's
No, he
electronic.
wants you to suck his dick. I mean, he's gonna die
Yeah.
soon.
No, he's not. A
Oh,
cold
yeah.
smoker.
Yeah, he is,
Yes,
dude.
he
Dude, look
is.
at him. He has AIDS. It's
I
AIDS.
don't
has
know,
AIDS.
man. I haven't really conversed with him. Like
He weighs
he's
like
always-
60
he's a
pounds.
quiet guy.
He weighs 60
Oh,
pounds,
Well,
dude.
Beat your ass.
He's quiet sometimes, but when you're not around, he's
I will
pretty
fucking
fucking
wreck
verbal
you,
about
fat
shit.
midget.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
talking
Talk shit to
Yeah.
women. Yeah, fuck him.
You got no women. What are you
Talking about me.
When's the last time?
Yeah.
And women, yeah, everybody, dude. Yeah.
This fucking faggot.
Mostly about the way you look, how he likes it.
That you saw how he was talking about Tricky Nicky. Him and him were buddies, and all of a sudden Tricky's not around, and he's like talking shit about him. Why?
What are you talking about, you fucking jackass?
Oh, really? I didn't know
Who,
about
who
that.
are these?
It was happening right in front of you, homie. That's what he's talking shit
Right.
about.
Well, how come
Yeah.
you know
No, I missed it. What the fuck is
You're
problem
like-
with Tricky Nick? Why?
He's
'Cause
talking about
not
Nicky
around?
got kicked out. Nicky got kicked out. You know why he got kicked out. Yeah, that's what he was talking about. He's a piece of
I
shit.
guess he's falling on hard times or something.
Oh,
I don't
really?
Nicky got
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with Tricky Nicky, but I'm not gonna just start talking shit because he's gone.
Yeah,
Not like Shrek does. That's weird.
yeah.
He's a good.
Dude.
Yeah,
Nicky's
Tricky's
a good dude.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he's fine. I don't have a problem with him. I just don't like Shrek talking shit when dude's not around.
Faster,
Yeah.
You can't fucking stand. You know,
Chad.
you can't stand up for
Oh,
himself when he's
man.
not around.
I missed that. I didn't know he was
Yeah.
like.
dude, he was doing it to you just a few minutes ago. That's why everybody left your chat. That's
why
why
we
we're
all
dying.
left, dude.
I
Yeah.
was
Well,
spinning
break
the joint
was
or
cool.
something. Yeah, I was totally away. I don't know. Yeah.
Excuse me, that was rude. I apologize. I should have muted on that.
Excuse me for my rudeness.
Now,
It was
I got a
very
question for you.
Professor, you're a loser.
Professor, I was gonna ask you last time, and you flipped fucking shit on me and went, you went nuclear.
That's all cool, dude.
All right. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Okay, cool. So that new guy, that what the fuck's his name? Marsh?
Yeah, Marsh.
Oh,
saw
yeah.
him.
Okay. I remember that guy in the chat.
Okay. I just got a question because like I thought you loved America.
Me?
Yeah, you like Hulk Hogan. You,
Oh no.
That dude's from the fucking UK, dude, where they're all under like sheer law.
Well, no. Okay,
they have
I
to,
did.
they have to kneel to the fucking Islamists.
I got to the point I liked America more than Canada, but now I don't like Canada or America at all. Like I hate
Yeah, but
the
UK
I
is
hate
worse.
North America. This Western country sucks.
No,
Yeah.
no, well, UK's worse. They'll arrest you for saying
yeah,
shit.
they're way worse, man.
Oh
Like,
my
look at Chuck
god,
Norris,
the
dude.
European shit.
Yeah.
Union. Oh god. Yeah,
Well,
there's
that's
nowhere
Britain.
to
Just
go.
Britain. I don't think it's that bad over in France or
You're
Germany. but
fucked.
Yeah, Great
And if
Britain's
you go
fucked
to
up.
Australia, you're still. That's even more crazy.
it's
New
worse.
Zealand and all that fucking loserness. No way.
France and Germany.
Yeah, we're pretty much fucked, man. Like, where's there to go? Nothing. They're doing the new world order.
This
They're
guy
just
still watches
making the
fucking
whole
wrestling.
one world government.
I
They're-
never watched wrestling when I was
The one
Yeah.
currency, like the
Yeah,
money
it's
for
all
the everybody,
adult and
and
all
currency.
fucking dresses
That's
up
why
like
they
fucking-
call it currency. It's like currency, like electricity. Because whoever has all the money, who's got all the power, right? And they said, who owns all the money controls the world. That's the currency.
Well, I've got enough. I've got so much. I got to pay a ridiculous amount of taxes.
Oh my God, mine went up massive too. Every year it goes up like $500. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking sick and tired of this.
You have a
shit.
W-2? Are you talking about like property taxes?
My house property taxes. Yeah.
No, but doesn't your dad pay that?
No.
No, all right. No, just asking.
Wow. What does your dad pay?
Nothing. He's dead.
There you
He died
go.
from COVID.
Wow, he was all ventilated up.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like triple boosted, vaccinated, and everything.
Nope. He never got the vaccine. He was one of the first people to die from COVID.
And he wore a mask. The COVID surgical.
No, he was one of the first people to die from COVID.
Okay.
He was the first
2021. Yeah.
So you got your boosters and vaccines and shit?
No, I don't have them. But I've had COVID. I've had it a few times.
Why not? Because your dad fucking died because of it. Why don't you support and save yourself now? Listen
I
to the
don't give
government.
a shit. I'm a whole lot
Get all
younger than
your
this.
fucking poison. Come on. Everybody's lining up. They can't wait. They're like, oh, Trump. You know what the worst thing is? Trump, man. How this guy. And listen, Bonebreaker. Hey,
Uh,
do you remember how you were all Alex Jonesed up and shit? And I
Uh-huh.
told you this guy's a fucking psyop, fucking alter ego, fucking opposition, fucking, and he is.
uh,
And you knew I was right, but you didn't know as I said it. You're like, no, I'm listening to him still and shit.
I mean,
Oh,
Alex
yeah,
Jones
you
was pretty
know,
accurate about the Epstein
Oh,
stuff,
man.
you know?
everything. Well, we
Yeah.
talked about
That's-
this is even before all this shit happened, Bonebreaker. Remember?
Right, he was
And I
right.
Fucking, I was telling
Yeah.
you all this, and then look how it all happened too. Right now, fuck.
no, I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this about that shit. I kind of quit listening to Alex Jones, and I'm starting to wonder about him. And I can kind of see what you were saying. But then I'm kind of confused because he has predicted so much shit, you mean? But then is he just there to tell us some shit and fuck with us in another way? I don't know.
No, that's what they do because the Illuminati, they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And that's part of their rules of the Freemason thing.
Is anybody else?
This fucking cult they got going on. They just can't surprise you. They got to like tell you. That's why they do all these things in the movies and stuff. They warn you.
Putting down your
And then they're like breaking the rules like, "Oh, we told you long ago in a movie." So that's why
Yeah, I
they're
know what you're saying. And Alex Jones could be like a hybrid of that to fool like the smart people too. You mean? But
yeah.
I don't really know. I don't watch him like I used to. But
Good.
I don't really know. I am a little confused on him.
I was wondering, like, you fucking know that guy's a sellout big time, eh?
I'm not so gung ho like I used to be about him, but I don't know what I really think about him.
What
He
about
takes
this?
information, this and that?
I question him nowadays, where before
Yeah.
I never would.
Yeah,
You
see?
should question him. But I got
Good,
to. How
good,
about this
good.
though, right?
What?
Like, if any good journalist is good at what they do, they're going to expose a whole bunch of shit, right? So they can be legit.
Investigative
get-
journalists. They
you
don't
get
have those
big
no
enough-
more.
You get big enough and you expose enough big shit, you either
Never.
get co-opted into controlled opposition or you get dead.
They don't do that nowadays. They just got to print out every morning. The
So I
news
think
guys
he's
just-
co-opted, but I don't
You
think he always
switch to
does.
every news channel. They read the same script they got printed out in the morning. Yeah, nobody does investigate. Nobody does their own little scoop anymore.
Some shit changed when he went to that trial bullshit too.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Well, that's when they took everything from him and said you're gonna owe us.
Yeah, and then shit's like changed. And he was all with Elon Musk and fucking Trump, all fucking cons. That's what turned me off.
God,
All
remember
kinds
that
too.
their little brotherly love they had there for a while.
Mm.
Wow, and how long did that last, eh? Fucking-
Nah, I totally love Sam Tripoli. I totally love Sam Tripoli, and I don't know the guy's name, Kurt Menzer or something. The Derp with Kurt, that dude's fucking awesome.
I'll check it out. But you
But
know
yeah,
what?
the
If
Derp
he
with Kurt,
follows
that
the-
dude's awesome. And Sam Tripoli has many shows, and he's a really good guy.
If it follows the pattern, though, they'll get so big that they get co-opted or die.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh
You
my
can only
God.
start off good. You never end good. You start
This is
good.
crazy. This should be
Yeah.
like a Rumble talk almost. Yeah, because this is like we could go deep on.
Well, we're
some
not
of this.
snapping TOS, but we might be able to do that.
Well, you know what I mean? Because this is go like deep type of thing, and you two don't like this deep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'd be really sad if I lost my channel or something like that, but fuck
I do
it
this all
all.
the time, dude. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just delete your shit. I'm gonna leave this up there so we can fucking
Hey, Bone
kick
Breaker,
it.
Whatever.
I got a video right there
You got
that
like,
came off of YouTube.
okay, just delete this after, yeah, because by the time they get to you to your turn to edit it. Yeah.
Now that you're here, the whole world's gonna be watching because you're a celebrity.
Yeah, I got a special video if you want to play it.
Yes.
I don't know how to play this shit, dude. Do you want me to
See
give you
down
guys
there?
wrenches so you guys can start
See- no,
fucking
no,
around and shit or what?
If you look down in the tray, there's like where you pull me up. You see, there's one right there. It's grayed out that says Rick Tullich.
Well, I don't
It's a little
know.
box. It's a little box. You click on the
Yeah,
box.
yeah,
and
yeah,
pull
yeah,
it up.
yeah. All right, so just press it and then we're gonna play it.
Yep. Yeah, we'll play it.
Hey, can you
I
give
watched
me a-
this. I watched this earlier, probably, but yeah, here we go.
Can you give me a wrench?
Just press add to stage or
Yep. Add to stage. Yeah.
Oh fuck. Oh, don't do any of that shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
If you break up with her, how are you gonna fucking fix your clutch?
She's trying to like steal all my
How are you,
shit.
how are you gonna fucking have heat in the winter? How are you gonna have lights? How are you gonna play video games with no lights?
No, when she's out of the picture,
My
like,
generator,
you
I feel like
after
it's
it.
island style.
Don't worry about it. She's the one who just like made me all petrified at my.
Why don't you go back to? Why don't you go back to dating dudes? What happened to that dude? Oh yeah, to your other boyfriend. He laid on the train tracks and killed himself, right?
Oh my god!
You don't know any? You never had a friend that died?
That was bad. Don't talk about that.
This was like
But that was your
fucking
boyfriend, right?
15 years ago. Why you keep saying boyfriend?
But this was your boyfriend. Well, if you keep listening, keep listening.
Okay.
I went to. That's the first funeral of my life. I went
that's
to. I
not
can't
cool,
believe this
man.
guy.
You can't
fucking
talk
just
about
laid
my
down
dead
and had a
friends.
train
You know,
crush
that's
him.
double
Well,
trouble.
didn't you break up with him, or didn't you go? Yeah, camera go have like an orgy or a threesome or something? Then he got all sad and laid on the train tracks and died.
And you post. I broke up with him, kind of like.
Whoa,
Yeah.
run that back.
He did on purpose.
He just said he broke up with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You broke up with him.
Oh.
So
It
You
was
just
6
said you
months
broke
later
up with the
that
guy.
happened.
Did you break up with him, or didn't you go? Yeah, camera go have like an
was-
orgy or a threesome or
broke up
something?
with
Then
my
he got all sad
girlfriend.
and laid on the train tracks and died.
You want to hear the story?
You post. I broke up with him, kind of. This guy fucking.
Here's the
just laid down
story.
and had a
I broke
train
up with my
crush him.
Well, then,
No, but you said you broke up with him.
with him, yeah.
No,
yeah.
my girlfriend.
Shut the fuck up. I'm fucking sick of this shit. Tell us the truth. These people are fucking brain dead. Tell us the train story. Yeah, the train story, Professor. Tell us the stupid train story. Like, fucking dumb faggot, dude. What the fuck is in your fucking brain? Fucking like old sponge and like fucking some moldy towels up there. You fucking inbred fucking worm. Dude, what the fuck? What are they talking about? How is this funny? How is this entertaining? Some people are just fucking bizarre, dude. The hell are you fucking mumbling about? Tell us your boyfriend about the train. Tell us about your boyfriend and the train story. Tell us how he died. So we can all fucking sit here and giggle like fucking little girls dressing up in fucking. Look, I put fucking my underwear on my face. Look how fat I am. Fucking fat dwarf looking fucking motherfucker. He's like 50 years old. He's still acting like he's like 10. You sad fucking loser. I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face. Knock you over and fucking watch you fucking your little hands can't fucking even get up like a roly-poly rolling around on the ground. God damn. I bet you these people don't even have jobs. Not a single one. They're all fucking on welfare. Like a fat black woman with like fucking 20 kids. Collecting fucking food stamps and shit. It's fucking sad. Look at my wrestling fucking characters. What a dork. Holy shit, man. How do these people fucking reproduce, man? Fucking guy's parents was probably a goat and a fucking camel that fucked each other and then he came out. Old Mustard. Even their nicknames suck. Rick Tulich. Old Mustard. Ass Slicker. Like, dude. Do you not have any fucking imagination? You fucking smell like diarrhea, dude. Horrible. I'm not turning that back on. Fuck that. Just too fucking dumb. Yeah, no fucking way I'm turning that back on. There's gotta be something better to watch than that trash. Now I'm wondering if I should even hang out with Professor or not. Cause that group of people is just fucking. Really fucking irritating. That's just too much loser. Fucking old ass fucking gray bearded fucking fat dudes fucking dressing up in fucking wrestling fucking masks, sitting around rolling around the fucking couch, fucking smearing greasy ass potato fucking chips in their faces. Fucking nasty.
over 200. I'm inclined to think Iran may know more what it's talking about because of this report that Donald Trump sought intervention by Italy with Iran to get a ceasefire. Now, if we're kicking ass and taking names, if we're winning, man, why do you want to call the game off? Why do you want to pause? Stuff it down the throats. But the reality is otherwise. Is the United States inflicting some serious damage on Iran? Yeah. But Iran's a big country, number one. Number two, unlike the June 13th attack in 2025, again, the same playbook, same damn playbook, where we would tell the Iranians, oh, yeah, we'll be sitting down with you to talk on Monday to negotiate a deal to end all this concern about nuclear weapons, and then boom, sucker punch you on Saturday. That's exactly what was done this time, only in contrast with what happened last June, where the Iran was really decimated. It took them about 10 to 12 hours. You know, think of a boxer that gets knocked on his ass. He gets back up, and he's still, hearing, seeing stars and birds singing. This time, Iran was up off the canvas, punching back within an hour. And didn't just stop with Israel, started hitting American military bases in the area. The two that have been, I think, taken out effectively, Al Udeid, which is in Qatar, that was the home for both the Combined Air Operations Center, CAOC. CAOC was multinational. It was led by the United States, but it had French and Germans and Brits and Italians and Saudis, and people from all over the world that were there militarily supporting U.S. military operations in the region. And I've got a friend that spent some time at the CAOC back in the mid around 2016. I believe. So the radar capability to monitor what's going on it used to be to reach out like 5,000 kilometers, so the 300 miles in every direction. That's gone. So the fact that Trump is now asking for a ceasefire tells me we've bitten off more than we can chew. And Iran's response was, "Go fuck yourself." So they are committed to taking this as far as they can, as long as they got a missile to fire. And I believe they've got well over 20,000 missiles.
Yeah.
The West believes they have less than 3,000. So we'll find out. What makes this so difficult for the United States is that military, the naval facility in Bahrain. That was basically headquarters for the Fifth Fleet. And that's where if a ship, like when these destroyers that are sailing in the Arabian Sea, when they ran out of missiles, they'd sail up into Bahrain and get reloaded. Bahrain is a bigger problem, though, because of all the countries in the Gulf, it's got 80% Shia. The Sunnis who rule the place, they're just 20%. So you've got Iran, you've got these Shia who support Iran fervently are now marching. They're starting to burn some buildings. Whereas Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, they all have around 15 to 20% Shia population. So they're not at as much jeopardy. But the U.S. ability to stay in the Gulf is now really in question. It's being hit, and U.S. soldiers and sailors and Marines are being killed, and Trump is trying to keep a lid on that as long as he can. And again, if we're devastated, why call it all? Why go for a ceasefire? And why is looking to Britain to, the Brits are now saying, oh, hey, we'll weigh in here. Well, you can land at our place now. They did, saying before, no. That means the U.S. is in trouble. And now the Saudis are threatening to attack Iran. Good, do that. See what happens. If Iranian oil facilities are attacked, they will blow up and destroy Saudi Arabian oil, Qatar oil, Emirati oil, and those boys, their money train will be dried up for a bit. And at the same time, it's going to spike oil prices, $120 a barrel, maybe higher. Guess who's going to be laughing all the way to the bank? Russia. Hey, we got plenty of oil. It's going to cost you a little bit, but you're welcome to have some. Just make sure you're paying gold. We don't want any of that paper money. So this is, the quick and thought this would be quick and easy, that they would collapse the regime. And these fools around Trump genuinely believe that if we attack and kill the Ayatollah Khamenei, now follow the logic here with me, brother. The one guy in Iran that is against a nuclear weapon, the one guy that's been the complete roadblock for Iran trying to get a nuclear weapon, Ayatollah Khamenei. And we kill the one guy that has been preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Gee, what do you think is going to happen now that his replacer may come in and say, you know what? My successor was wrong. We need a nuke, because if we had a nuke, they wouldn't have attacked us like this. So that's going to be the real irony here, that when this is said and done, Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon and Israel's screwed.
Probably building one now. I don't want to see nuclear proliferation. But if I were Iran, I would be right now. I mean, if I'm honest, I'd say, well, look at North Korea. They never attacked them, right? So You're creating a dynamic where you are incentivizing them to say, well, crap, that's the only way we'll be safe is if we have one. So we better build some quickly. It's madness. But let me ask you this. I recently read a few minutes ago, Iran was saying 500 Americans dead. Now, here's what I remember. I don't know what the number is, but we know there's Americans dead. But I'll tell you what I remember. After Trump killed Soleimani, General Soleimani, immediately after, the Iranians said over 100 Americans were wounded and they were taken to Saudi Arabia. And the Americans said, that's not true. None of them, nobody was injured. And then a couple of days later, they came out and said, well, 111 Americans had problems from the percussions of the, of the blast, and 111 were taken to Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, well, crap, they knew exactly what they were talking about. I don't know that it's 500. I don't know that it's 5, but I don't think we're getting the real numbers. Yeah. And I think Americans would be, if it's hundreds, Americans would be going bananas. And if I'm Trump, I'd be horrified and worried that people are going to find, was the Abraham Lincoln hit by something? Now I'm hearing it may be limping out of the Gulf, I had read that its runways were damaged so that planes couldn't land and they had to land. I don't know, but when as much stuff is getting thrown around here, people are throwing a lot of long distance stuff at each other. You got to think that somebody's getting hit by a drone or something at some point.
Yeah. Well, not only that, look at Iran is operating at twice the level that it did in June of 2025. Back then, it was focused just on hitting Israel, and it didn't really go. I don't think it went 24/7 shelling hitting Israel with missiles. Now it is. I think that they're not going to let up. And then in addition to that, they continue to hit these U.S. military installations in the Persian Gulf. Now, the Gulfies, who are a bunch of whores anyway, have been crying, oh, we're going to declare war on you. And I think Iran will say, fine, go ahead. But we're going to take you out too. And these pampered, pompous princes of these, these wealthy degenerates is what they are. I was several years ago, I was with Pat Lang in London. and Pat had been the former chief of the Middle East division at DIA. And we had dinner with one of these Saudi princes. And, they make this big pretense to being ultra religious and, alcohol so not past my lips. $2,000 bottles of wine, that does pass their lips. I saw it. Like I said, they're degenerates. And in this case, Iran is dead. They're dead ass serious. And this is what the West doesn't understand. They think, Trump's like, do this or else I'm going to kill more of you. They go, great. If I'm martyred by Allah, then it is the will of Allah. They believe that. That's how they think about it and approach it. Those are some dangerous people to deal with, because when they are willing to give their life up because they believe that their life goes on and their eternal relationship with God is more important than you infidel. If it is true that Donald Trump reached out to Italy, said, okay, try to get with the Iranians to see if we can get a ceasefire, that means we're in trouble, because we will not be able to sustain this over 8 weeks. We already saw what we couldn't do in the Red Sea going up against the Houthis, who they don't even have close to the capability. And yet what we're hearing now, because of this death of the Ayatollah, the Houthis they're going to start hitting Israel with missiles. And Hezbollah has said, okay, we're back in the game. We're going to be attacking Israel. So the Israelis are going to regret this. And
now, I also have been reading that some people are dead in Pakistan, that I know there's a lot of Shiites in Pakistan, that they have surrounded the embassy there. They want to attack the embassy. They've been fighting with the Pakistani government, and 8-9 people have dead there. That I saw pictures from the embassy in Iraq, Baghdad, and they were some people there who had the guns up, and they were saying, we want please, will our religious leaders, say jihad so we can attack and fight and give our lives for, to take these Americans out. They had bulldozers that they had gotten, and they said, just give us the word. We'll take the bulldozers, ram into the walls. We'll go take. And I'm like, man, our embassies, everything. I don't know how the U.S. recovers from this in that region. I think we're almost getting kicked out of the region.
Yeah, well, this is, we've invested a lot of money in infrastructure there that's now smoldering ruins. And we even persuaded, I would argue that the one country that's really pretty vulnerable now, besides Bahrain, in terms of leadership change, is Jordan. Because you've got a significant Palestinian population there, significant population that supports Iran. And he's been, again, one of the biggest whores in the Middle East of selling his soul to the United States. And, he may pay for it with his life.
And the other thing is back home. I mean, we talked about this. The same people that were like, go Trump, we're behind you 100%. The market's open tomorrow. And like you said, the agents market open within hours. And everybody's going to be watching. And if they start seeing, everybody's going to be calling their brokers, get me the hell out. Get my money out. Get my money to a safe place. They're going to be screaming. They're going to be selling. It will be bananas. They may have to shut it. Anyway, go ahead, Larry.
Well, no, in fact, I don't know how closely you've been following the gold and silver market over the last 2 weeks, but the main deliverer and holder of silver in the United States is called the COMEX up in Chicago. And so they sell futures contracts, contracts where people get to buy silver for a certain price in the future. And then they got people who are selling contracts to short it, that they think the price of silver is going to go down. So in that way, they say, okay, I'm going to buy a contract that for $80. And then when silver falls to 75, they get to, they make some money off of that. Well, the COMEX right now doesn't have enough silver. If people demand delivery, they don't have enough. And the institutions in the United States have been fighting like hell to keep silver below $90. But it's stayed up at 93. Gold's at 5,200 something. And like I said, we'll know here in about 10 minutes that right now in Shanghai, the last I saw, silver selling for $120 an ounce, not 93 ounce. So that's $27 difference. That means if they try to keep the price low in the United States, people are going to buy silver in the United States for $93. Then they'll go over and sell it in Shanghai, and then, man, you make $27. The shipping cost to be $1 per ounce. So just, all of a sudden, if you do 100,000 ounces of silver, you made tremendous amount of money. So that's what so all of this turmoil right now in the Persian Gulf is taking place against a backdrop of great economic turmoil as well. And then, as you were chatting beforehand, your conversation with the good professor about derivatives, oil derivatives, where people they're betting on a price of oil being at a certain level, but nobody actually controls that oil. And so as the oil is going to skyrocket based upon, Iran attacked 3 ships, at least 1 U.S. and 2, I'm not sure the nationality of the others, but they're on fire. So, that's sending the message. This isn't just an idle threat. They're shutting down the Persian Gulf. And there are some U.S. naval ships trapped in the Persian Gulf now. So maybe they're going to try to run the gauntlet. If the United States tries to engage Iran to fight, to open it, I don't think they can. I think Iran's got enough missiles, anti-ship missiles, that they'll sink enough, and then they'll dump mines. They got a lot they can do. And I understand why they're doing it. They're saying, we negotiated in good faith. We made concessions. We were willing to give up our nuclear program. We were willing to make concessions on enrichment. And instead, we got attacked, blindly attacked, had not made a threat, hadn't killed anybody. We got attacked. We got over 110 young girls killed. You killed the spiritual leader of our country. You killed generals, people who are not attacking you. So now there's a debt to be paid. And I think Iran, the government of Pezeshkian came under some criticism for ending the war on June 25th with the United States. They negotiated a deal under the table that was at the United States. Oh, we need a ceasefire, so we'll allow you to ship oil to China, and you can hit the base at Al Udeid, and then we're going to bomb your nuclear sites, and we'll call it even. And the Iranians apparently went along with it. They're not going along now. They recognize there is not any foundation for trust between the United States and Iran. And so they're going to keep hammering U.S. facilities. They're going to keep killing U.S. servicemen, destroying U.S. assets, and destroying Israel. And Israel is going to be severely damaged this time. I anticipate, the damage that was done previously to the refinery. Those refineries are going to be on fire. The ports will be completely shut down, maybe incapable of being used for months. And so Israel is going to be crushed economically as well as militarily. Iran ain't playing now. They ain't playing.
Well, the problem is, it's one thing if I say you and I are going to get in a fight and the best man wins, and afterwards we'll go have a beer.
Yeah.
But if I say you and I are going to get in a fight and only one person's walking away, one of us is going to be dead. Well, you're going to fight differently. If somebody's fighting because we disagreed and we're going to walk away and shake hands, as opposed to somebody says, I'm going to kill you. You said to the Iranian government, we're taking you out this time. You're done. We're going to kill you. They have no incentive to stop. If you said to Iran, well, you better stop or we're going to nuke you, Iran could say, well, you can do that. We can't stop you. You can throw a nuke if you want, but you understand what happens if you throw a nuke. All oil facilities everywhere in the Gulf disappear.
Yeah.
And your economy disappears along with it. So we can't stop you from doing that, but we ain't stopping unless you sign a unconditional surrender and get the hell out. Other than that, We're not stopping. You can threaten anything you want and you can do it. It's just going to make it worse. See, that's the situation. By threatening to kill them and literally killing some of them and trying to decapitate them, we put them in a position where if I know I'm going to die, I got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and if the reports coming out of Iran are correct, let's say they're only 50% correct. They're claiming they've killed 560 killed and wounded, 560 U.S. military personnel killed and wounded. Okay, let's just say it's 230 or 270. That's still a lot. Though I guess the 560 would be 280. So, but still, that's a lot. That when you go back and look at the number that were killed in Iraq during our Gulf War in 2003, again, I think the total killed in action in Iraq was less than 4,000 over 15 years.
This is a day and a half.
Yeah,
this is a day and a half we're talking about.
Yeah. So this is a level of violence that the U.S. is not accustomed to seeing or fighting. It never, we've been so busy beating up kids in wheelchairs. We're not used to having to fight a real man.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, Larry. I'm watching the stuff. I'm sure you're looking at the same videos. Man, there's friggin' the whole sky is full of drones and shit, and all this stuff's going on. And I'm like, if I remember correctly, some people said to Trump and the leadership of our country, hey, maybe this is not a good idea. We could take a lot of casualties, and I don't know how long we can. We may have said we could last 12 or 15 days. At the rate that things are being shot at us, we could be looking at a week. We're out of air. Now, let me add this. And we got to ship everything else we have to the region for aircraft stuff. But here's the problem. But we can't get it up the Red Sea, or we can't get it up the Persian Gulf. So if we have anti-aircraft missiles, and we want to get them to our places in Bahrain or other things, we got no way to get them there. And by the way, we're almost out. And so that means worldwide, we'll be like, get everything we have worldwide. Okay. And then 2 weeks and we're out, and we'd have none in the entire world. That's the direction things are going. In a week or two, we won't have anything, we won't have an air defense missile to be found.
Yeah. Yep.
What,
No, it's
what's the
I've used the example. Who's that kid? Was it Jake something or other that just fought Mike Tyson?
Jake Paul.
So here's Mike, closer to my age than he is Jake Paul's age, but he's still pretty good shape. And if he was fighting me, I'm sure he'd whip my ass. But you get someone like Jake Paul, who's not, doesn't have any respect, and he's just an internet presence. But if he gets in the ring and survives 3 rounds with Mike Tyson, and he comes walking out, if he had walked out instead of getting just, clubbed to death. Well, actually, it was, Mike Tyson actually did partially, he lost. So that's sort of the situation right now. That think of Iran as that Jake Paul, and he not only did he get into the ring with Mike Tyson, he actually came out doing okay. And that's going to be the same for the United States. Everybody's got this impression that the United States is some great military power, and then when Iran stands up to them and basically forces them to retreat, everyone's going to go, whoa. They're not as bad as we thought. We need Jim Croce back to sing "Bad, Bad Leroy Brown."
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying. So let me ask you this, and this is, I think, something that's kind of scary. I mean, for the Navy men. Okay, if there are 3 ships, as I understand it, Navy ships that are in the Persian Gulf, and Iran has closed off the Straits of Hormuz. And I mean, right. The channel's like a mile. It's like 25 miles wide, but the channel's like a mile or 2 wide, right? It's really skinny. You can't sneak out. You ain't sneaking out of there, right? They're effectively in a lake. They're effectively like in a landlocked lake right now. And the Iranians can pick them off whenever they're ready. They're sitting there. They can pick them off when they can say, okay, we're going to let them sit. But, we decide we'll pick them off whenever we want to. almost like a bargaining chip. I mean, those guys, and at some point, don't you run out of food? Don't you run out of energy? If they keep shooting at them, now they don't have to shoot them. They can just keep throwing drones at them. Keep throwing every day, throw drones at them, and they got to expend their, and next thing you know, they got nothing to protect themselves.
Yeah, they're going to drain in the stock.
And so have you heard, now I read that Trump was enraged. Have you heard anything about what's going on in the decision center, or based on your experience, how do you think, say, the military, the intelligence, people who are involved in this, how do you think people are looking at this situation right now, even though they're smiling and keeping a stiff upper lip, shall we say?
Yeah, I think Trump got played. And yeah, he's going to be angry. Particularly, he was promised, I believe, that this war would be quick, that the Iranians were weak, that this decapitation strike this time would really work, that the groundwork had been prepared for the overthrow of the regime. And that was based in large measure on two things: intelligence being fed to Trump by the Israelis, all fabricated, all lies. And then this media group that conducted a survey of Iranians, claiming that the Iranians were like 80% against the Ayatollah. The problem with this group, that's Ganaam, G-A-N-A-A-M, up in Netherlands, and another group, Visifon, VPN, they're in Canada. They were paid for by NED and USAID. So it was actually, I'd call it CIA money being laundered through these open source propaganda outfits. And so, Trump's getting told all this nonsense and believes it and acts accordingly. Well, all of a sudden, Iran's not, they're not bending over and they're curled up into a fetal position begging for relief. Not at all. Again, these clowns in the intelligence community and around Trump that are supposed to advise him, they never sat back and looked at history. They didn't realize, Iran took well over 300,000 killed in action in the war with Iraq that we sponsored, that we encouraged Iraq to attack, and we provided Iraq with chemical weapons, or the material to make chemical weapons that were used against the Iranians. They endured that many losses, and then we wonder why they chant "Death to America." Well, if the Iranians 300,000 U.S. soldiers, we'd be chanting "Death to Iran." But the fact of the matter is, despite the claims that Iran's some massive terrorist mastermind and been killing Americans right and left, it's just not true. The numbers don't add up.
Let me throw something else at you. I think that talk about. No, everybody's caught up on that, but there is another war going on, and a couple of things. Number one, the Europeans said to Iran, to the Ukrainians, we're going to give you $90 billion. We're going to come up with this great scheme for a loan, and then we're going to sell whatever on the market. We're going to sell, bonds and blah, blah, blah. And 90 billion is yours. Well, that's falling apart. And I, from the very beginning, said, who the hell would buy those bonds? Get out of here with that. Anyway, that fell apart.
Yeah.
Europeans not going to be in a good situation as opposed to the closing of the Straits of Hormuz. They're going to have to say to the U.S., can you sell me more oil? And I suspect if oil gets short, the U.S. will say, sorry, we only got so much gas and oil. We can keep it for ourselves. Here's the issue. They got no money to give Ukraine. Now the U.S., they got no weapons, zero to give to Ukraine, right? Your thoughts on how this conflict affects their Ukraine conflict?
Oh yeah, well, several points. First, Steve Witkoff is no longer a credible negotiator. He's no longer somebody that Russia, I think that Putin will even waste his time meeting with. Whatever Witkoff agrees to, he never delivers. So he's like a bad slot machine. Never pays off. And so I think this takes the focus, frankly, off of Ukraine, And the Europeans now are preoccupied with saying, "Oh my God, how are we going to counter the economic damage that's going to come from closing off the Persian Gulf at the Strait of Hormuz?"
And the Red Sea.
Yeah, and the Red Sea.
The
Yeah,
Red Sea.
the Houthis are back out today saying, "No, closed. Nothing going through, guys." So and so here's doubled up, and I'm hoping Hezbollah carries through with its threat to say, "Okay, we're back in the fight now," and Israel's going to have its hands full. This is going to push Israel to the breaking point. They were already suffering, and they were already demonstrated their complete inability to defeat Hamas. But now they're going to be getting just blasted day after day. And remember, it was after 12 days last June that Israel went to the United States pleading with the United States to get Iran to stop. Well, Iran ain't stopping this time, in my view. If they do,
they can't.
If they do, they'll be signing their own death warrant.
Yeah. So now we have and here we're going into Ukraine has a limited supply of weapons and food and all that kind of stuff, and they have their problems. But we do know they need money. I had heard originally by like March or April they were going to completely run out of money, that they had till March or April at the latest. And that's why the Europeans were like, okay, well, we'll do a loan. Oh, that ain't working. And then they started saying, well, we'll go back after the Russian funds. And now the Germans say, well, that's off the table. We're not going to be able to get after the Russian funds. So basically, the Europeans have no way to help them. And things have just gotten much worse for the Europeans. So if they hope to help them, they're not going to be able to do it. They're going to be running out of weapons. And I don't think the Russians are in a mood to be favorable to the Ukrainians. If they say, can you give us a break? Hey, remember that deal you offered way back when? Can we have that one now?
Yeah.
No, that one's off the table now. They're taking Odessa. Odessa's done. They're going up. I don't know if anything of Ukraine will be left. If I were the Russians, I wouldn't. They want to have like some kind of a demarcation line, and they want to build up some gigantic NATO monster on the other side to threaten you. And if I'm the Russians, I'd say, nah, that ain't happening. I think this ended any hope they had to continue this thing against the Russians also.
Yeah. In fact, as we're talking, it just flashed across my screen. Rockets fired from Lebanon towards Israel, courtesy of Hezbollah. So Hezbollah is now in the fight. So, good. Israel and the United States, they didn't plan this through at all. They just thought we could go in, threaten them, bully them, pop our shirt open, show some chest hairs, and Iran would run screaming and into a corner and curl up into a fetal position. That ain't happening.
Well, and now, if things weren't bad enough, as Andre Martiano always likes to say, and if that weren't bad enough, aren't they supposed to release some more crap from the Epstein thing? I mean, the Clintons were in there lying. Hillary was going bananas, screaming. Bill Clinton was, I didn't do anything, don't know. They were in there doing what the Clintons do, lie. But I think some more Epstein stuff is supposed to be released tomorrow.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but if it'd be just one more piece of fecal material piled onto Donald Trump's salad, and it's not a tasty salad that he's got to eat here.
I'm looking at this. It's been 2 days, and I think the Iranians I'll put it like this: it seems that they had a plan that we didn't. Like we had a plan that wasn't a workable plan.
Yeah.
How do we do this for a week? Not much less a month or 3 months. How do we do this for a week? I'm looking at video. There's no way in hell that we got enough $2 million missiles to fire at $25,000 drones for 2 weeks.
Yeah. And as you said, we're not even 48 hours into this. Because so it was started. It started on Saturday, early Saturday morning, about 2 a.m. East Coast time. And I remember I was up late watching all the reports come in, and then it continued. So, in about 6 hours, we'll be at 48 hours. And man, there has been a ton of ordnance fired back and forth. And United States is doing a lot, but we're suffering a lot too. And if the aircraft carrier Lincoln has been hit and damaged in any way, that ship's out of the fight.
The other thing is this, one of the things that we do in Ukraine, for I don't know how long, oh, we took this town or burg, or we lost this town or burg, right? And it's like, let's judge by what we took or lost. We've lost the Red Sea.
Yeah.
We've lost the Persian Gulf. We've lost, I saw pictures from Erbil, the base there, that looked like it got vaporized.
Yeah.
But Bahrain's base vaporized. I mean, bases are getting vaporized, right? So we are losing. We're not gaining territory. We're losing bases. We're losing in a day and a half. We've lost a number of bases, and we've lost really just no control, no ability to safely navigate in the two biggest waterways in the area, which are two of the most important, most critical modes for international traffic.
Right.
In the world. In less than a day and a half, we've lost all of that. You and I talked last week, interestingly enough, and I watched that again, and both of us were kind of saying, man, we might lose this war. And we were like, you said we will lose.
Yeah.
And a lot of people weren't saying, you said we'll lose. And I'm like, I think we lose this. And if you lost that much in 2 days, I don't see how you can win a war.
Yeah. Well, it'd be one thing. Let's say we had an industrial base that was cranking out 700 Patriot missiles a week or a month. But that's not what we're doing. We're cranking that many out a year. So that means basically 2 missiles a day get produced. Well, so when Iran fires one of its ballistic missiles or cruise missiles or drones at Israel or at a U.S. position, we'll fire off normally 2 of those missiles to try to defeat the inbound threat. And I think the cost of those are like $6 million a piece. So you end up spending $12 million on just one launch. And I was counting some of the counter launches from Israel today, just in about an hour period. It looks like we launched at least 30 Patriot missiles. So, do the math. Let's say they continue to, they just do 40 a day. Well, that's 16 days. You're out of over 800 missiles, and there's no way to replace them. So this is, we've launched a war of choice that we cannot win. That's the problem.
If I could get you to comment on the political ramifications, we talked about it. Trump won because he had an abnormal coalition. I told you, I knew people who had been Democrats their whole life, who never would dream of voting for a Republican. And they're like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. And I'm like, oh, well, do you like Trump? I can't stand him. He's a jerk. But he said he wasn't going to do war. He said he was going to focus on America. He said he was going to try to do something about inflation. And, I may not like him, and as I said to you last time we talked, I think that's smart. I'm not, whether I vote for Trump, I think it's smart for a person to say, I'm going to vote for the person, notwithstanding whether I like them or not. But I think, practically speaking, they may do what I want. Oh, they're long gone. That's all done. You got people now putting up Trump's videos from the past where he said, don't, but Tulsi Gabbard's tweets where she said, don't do this. And you got all of these people looking up now saying, man, we believed in you. And you told us specifically, we specifically voted for you so we wouldn't get this.
Yeah, right.
And you promised us that no matter what you did, you wouldn't do this.
Well, you and I are old enough to remember George H.W. Bush. Read my lips, no new taxes. That was his pledge, his promise. He wasn't going to do anything to raise taxes. And by God, he raised taxes. And once he did that, he was done. He was politically a dead man walking. That's the same with Trump right now. Trump is a dead man walking. His presidency will not recover from this. And as the bodies start piling up at Dover Air Force Base and he becomes more desperate to get an exit strategy, it's going to, create further tensions within the country. So this is nightmarish. And, right now, Hezbollah is hitting Israel with drones and missiles. So Israel's got its hands full, and then the ultimate, that'll be the real irony. They'll turn around and blame Trump. This is your fault. Trump, wait, I was just doing what you told me to do. Oh, you should have ignored us. Okay.
He'll turn around and say, well, Lindsey Graham's still with me, right? Lindsey,
Yeah.
Where are you, Lindsey?
Yeah. No, Lindsey's in a bathhouse somewhere looking for a massage.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. So the other thing I think is, I'll put it like this. Again, your statement and other statements, what we heard was, I specifically heard that J.D. Vance and Tulsi were telling him, if you do this, it's political suicide.
Right.
I also heard that Tucker Carlson went to a guy that I met and seemed like a really nice guy. Used to go on the show, right? And he seemed like a really nice guy, to be frank with you. Really nice person. I like Tucker Carlson. And he said that my understanding is they all went to Trump and said, if you do this, it's political suicide. I watched Jeffrey Sachs. I watched so many people all say, if Trump does this, it's political suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, to me, the worst political decision I've ever seen any president make. This, the most for like, and then apparently he fired some admiral. He literally fired some Joint Chiefs of Staff guy and said, "Hey, bad idea, guys. This ain't going to work." I mean, I think he could be run out of office before the midterms. I think the Republican Party may say the only chance we got is to run this guy out of office.
Well, and or he could be impeached for violating the Constitution, for starting a war without congressional authorization. And if this thing turns shitty, which I think it will, and the victory parade that's being done right now, the champagne cork popping, when that goes away, as the bodies start to pile up, and as other countries realize that the United States is not the military power they perceived it to be, then this thing starts unraveling and unraveling fast.
Well, I tell you what, the thieves in Kiev that have been stealing money and then absconding with that money to Israel, that ain't gonna be such a great location to head off with your stolen money, because that's what these bastards have been doing, stealing hundreds of millions, probably billions of dollars. And then this guy Mindich and others, they abscond to Israel and they say, ha ha ha, you can't get me. That ain't gonna be a safe place to hide with your money.
Right. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, I was just saying what's going on right now in Dubai and Doha, you had a lot of wealthy people that thought, oh, this is a safe place to hang out and it's a big party center. Boy, they're trying to get the hell out and it's tough. There's no flights. There may still be flights out of Saudi Arabia, but people are trying to escape the region.
Yeah, apparently I've read that. I forgot how many tens of thousands of flights have been canceled, because basically there's no way you can fly, because you just don't know. It's not like they're announcing, oh, there's missiles coming in. They're at this altitude. There's no way you can know. You could just be flying along there and a missile just comes bopping along and knocks you out, swipes you out of the air. So you've got tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who need to get wherever they are. And not only can they not go anywhere, there's no hotels available. They're all full, and there's no flights available, and they're in the airports, and some of the airports are getting hit. I've seen some of the airports blasted to hell.
Yeah. You saw that even earlier, the reaching as far as Akrotiri in Cyprus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a British jet went down. And it looks like it was attacked by Iran. So they may be reaching out that far. But this is going to continue to escalate. And Iran's going to get stronger as they go along, not weaker.
Yeah, success breeds the confidence, that's for sure. And it seems to me that basically, to be quite frank, you've got a regional conflict now because you've got people chomping at the bit to attack. I understand some of our bases have been attacked in Iraq, not just by missiles, but some of these, what do they call the PMUs or whatever, that they're starting to attack some of the bases also.
Yeah.
So what do they use? Like mortars and rockets and those the Katyushas or whatever, things of that nature.
Yeah. Then the artillery, mortars. So this is, I said, this is killing the Ayatollah was particularly stupid. Again, because it's killing him makes it more likely that Iran's going to get a nuke, not less likely.
Yeah, and it appears that we're just about to the end here, but it appears to me that some of the governments,
Not even in the government.
in the region, well, I mean, I'll put it like this. You might have saw it. I saw a video in Bahrain, and these big missiles were hitting American bases. And the Bahraini people were jumping up and down, pumping their fists in the hooray!
Yeah,
Yay! The Americans are getting hit. Get the Gringos out of here, whatever, right? And I'm like, I don't know how you can come back and rebuild that base. I don't know how you can come back there. I don't know how that government even survives. But if the government says, all right, we'll let the Americans come back and rebuild the base, I think some of these governments are probably potentially going to go down.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's a real risk. And Bahrain will probably be the first one to drop since, they're 80% Shia. And it's and the ruling class are not that popular.
I know he's not even.
So they very well could be ousted. And then that puts a whole new dynamic in play.
But, one of the things that I was talking when I talked to Andre and different people about, and we'll end here, and it was, are the Russians or the Chinese or whoever giving them, missiles or this kind of stuff? Apparently there's some air defense, but so much stuff is fired. You're going to have leakers. You're going to have stuff get through. But the discussion was ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. Now, the Iranians saying we knew where some American defense officials were at hotels and we hit those hotels. You know what I mean? We knew where some soldiers were at hotels or what we hit. We know where they were. That some of the specialized strikes that they've made in Israel, saying, well, we knew that under this thing there was a bunker or under here was that. That's the kind of, I think, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance that's provided that are far better than giving somebody a missile or a plane or anything else when you say this is where you hit your enemy very specifically, and maybe helping them with their guidance systems. And of course, as you said, that new Chinese targeting system and guidance system that could have a lot to do with the success of these missile strikes.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see as far as, because we're getting a lot of disinformation, misinformation, AI chats insisting, oh yeah, we're winning. Oh, it's a glorious victory for us in the West. And when in fact, it may actually absolutely be the opposite.
Yeah, this is a bad situation. Nobody's happy for it. We don't want to see Americans killed. We don't want to see schools struck with little girls killed. Just a disaster for Donald Trump, a disaster for the American people, a disaster for the military. You and I we've been talking about this for months. Sooner or later, you're going to pick a fight with the wrong guy. We even put it like that. You walk in a bar, one of these days, you're going to punch the wrong guy, and somebody's going to put a foot in your ass.
Yeah. And we think we're picking on someone smaller than us and don't realize, they're actually tougher. And can put us down on the floor. So,
let me show everybody before we go, and this is important. So Larry has a great website, and it is sonar21.com, right? And he's got a lot of great articles. Peter Hangler, a brilliant guy, thoughts in Dubai. Peter Hangler is in Dubai with his family. It's sober and
on the movement of the types of military equipment and gear, and the statements that were made and where the forces were. It looked to me like, because I've been through this, I've lived it twice really, as a member of an armed force, watching this exact same kind of buildup in the United States. And then one of the reasons I was so effective in calling the Russian war when it broke out in 2022, because remember, most people thought, oh, it's just going to be another buildup. The Russians aren't really going to do that. They're going to posture. But I said, no, this one is fundamentally different for the same reason as the other two that I saw. And then now that this was played out, when you see the types of force that Russia had amassed in, it wasn't just demonstration forces. They had everything they need with all the enablers. They had the logistics. They had the medical support. They had lots of things to sustain combat operations, and they were all being parked forward, just like what I went through when I myself was part of that deploying force. And so I said, no, this is something that is being pre-positioned to use. And I wrote that extensively before the case. So, you know, you couldn't come back and just say, well, you called it later. But that's why I was so confident this one, for the same reasons. Just when it was the air logistics, it was the refueling capabilities, it was the C-17s, the C-5 transport, the massive number of them, like 50% of our entire inventory. And then, of course, the large number of fighter jets and the aircraft carriers, strike groups, and all that. When you look at all that, it's like, no, this is being designed for use. This is not pressure. This is not trying to convince anybody to reach an outcome, because they already were. That was kind of the linchpin to me that kind of convinced me. Iran already was willing to have a negotiation. And in fact, I think history is going to look back and say, if there was a central moment where our failure was crystallized, it's on the night before, when the foreign minister from Oman, I believe it was on a Friday night, came and said on a US CBS News and said he had agreed to the Iranian negotiator to make some profound submissions and changes and concessions that they wanted in the nuclear agreement. They would not do any reprocessing, zero, which they had said wasn't even on the table before. And then they said the stockpiles they would get rid of that too. And then they said at least on the table were the long-range missiles and the proxy forces, which heretofore had not even been on the table. They said, we'll do that later, but let's get the nuclear part first. It was a golden opportunity for the Trump administration. If that's what they wanted, they had it in their hand. And when he attacked the next morning, then that made it very clear that none of this was ever about negotiations. It was always about war. Well, now then we're on the situation to where we have started something that we can't finish. And I don't remember, maybe it's what you and I talked about last time. My big frustration was, this is a war you can't win. You're setting about unattainable military objectives. And when President Trump came out, early in the morning that Saturday at Mar-a-Lago, he put out all the objectives for this, and I just was cringing, because I'm like, unless the Iranian side does the unexpected and just collapses and crumbles, just out of fear and whatever, there's no way you're going to be able to accomplish those. If their backbone stays stiff, and they already understood ahead of time that this was going to be very costly for them, but that they had calculated, this was in the New York Times just days before, that they have calculated that fighting a war with the U.S. was less risky than submitting to the U.S. That, again, was another signal that they had made this decision to go. And now, so far, that's exactly what they had done. And they are paying a price. And there's no doubt that there's been profound destruction of their armed forces, of their senior leaders, of course, their political and military, and definitely their military infrastructure's taken a beating. But I'm pretty sure you and I did talk about this. They have these underground facilities throughout the country, and they have the ability to withstand a lot of this for an extended period of time. But we don't. That's the key issue here. I said that we had maybe 4 or 5 days of high intensity flight. Maybe we could stretch that out to a couple of weeks if you're judicious in the use. But then what? If the other side doesn't capitulate, you're in real trouble. And now then that's where it looks like we are. There's reports out just in the last few hours that President Trump is saying, hey, maybe we can have a ceasefire. They're asking me for it, which is got to be complete BS. There's no way they would ask for it. Not now. Not after their Ayatollah has been assassinated. That's the last thing they're going to do, is ceasefire under those conditions. Otherwise, he would have been taken to secure location. evidence suggests that he knew he was going to be assassinated, and I think willingly sacrificed his life to be used as a martyr because he didn't go to a protected place. He stayed where everybody knew where his compound was so that when the strike came in, he was killed. That's what it looks like happened intentionally, and now that result looks like it's having a situation to where it's not causing the backbone to quiver, but it's actually consolidating support behind the regime and throughout the Shia world. There's lots of protests going on around the world in support of the Iranian side because of the sacrifice of the Ayatollah. So I think it has been a profound, and I mean, to say a miscalculation is bad because that almost implies that you thought maybe it was going to be good, but what you base it off of, you thought it was going to work, but it didn't. This was well known ahead of time that unless the other side just quit and everything in the world said they wouldn't, and you went ahead anyway, that was a profound error. So, yeah, I think it's a major miscalculation.
Well, they didn't seem to predict that Iran would attack bases across the region. So Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Iraq, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, obviously Israel. But also, as you said, killing Khamenei, this is a very strange thing that they thought the government would collapse. And, this is in the Shia culture, the martyrdom is so deep. This is, something that would, as you said, get them riled up, but or consolidate. But as you said, but also in the Shia region, Shia communities across the region, you see from Iraq, Pakistan, Bahrain, they're all, taking to the streets in support of Iran, given this attack and killing of their religious leader. And I saw Trump giving a speech now in which he, argued that the Iranian army should put their weapons down and, their civilians should take to the streets. And like, does he really think this is what's going to happen now? It's just,
I really do. I think that he does think that. I think that in his mind, how a lot of people often do projecting. Whatever your values are and whatever you would do in a circumstance, you just project onto another actor. And I think that's what he did because he's thinking, yeah, if I came in and somebody from the stronger position came in and just started bombing the crap out of me and killing some people, I'd give up. I'd just say, yeah, let's roll in. So that's what's going to happen. And then he's like, that's kind of what happened with all those speedboats. I killed all these people and blew it up. Nobody did anything. I stole the leader from another country in Venezuela. Nothing happened. And they just rolled over the whole leadership in Venezuela. All you got to do is just show how tough you are, and then they'll just roll over. And I think that's what he thought was going to happen here, not recognizing the radical and profound differences between Venezuela and the Shia country of Iran, as you pointed out. So I think it was a big miscalculation. I will say that one area where I did not foresee properly, Iran had said that they would attack the bases of everywhere America was in the region. We took that seriously and bolstered up a lot of the air defenses, but I did not think that they would, from the beginning, also attack the civilian sectors of those countries. It appears to me that their message was, hey, you guys we're suffering from the U.S. We have since 2010 from Israel, and then starting with the assassination of Soleimani by the U.S. in 2019. We just been hit mercilessly, and you guys are protecting them. You guys are putting these bases in there, and they're using that against us. So it's time for you to feel some pain too. It looks like that's kind of what they said, kind of like a big FU in a big way. And there's been some really big strikes. I thought that they would not do that in an effort to say, hey, don't take action against us. This is just against the U.S. But it looks like they're saying, I'm just tired of getting pushed around, which is another indication. The reason I bring that up is because that shows that they're all in on this. And they're going to say, listen, we're even going to hit other regimes in the areas to see if we can put pain on the United States, on Israel, and on their backers in the region, and they're going to start suffering until everybody backs off. And then maybe we will too. Maybe they'll do some negotiation later. I don't think they're going to do it right now, though.
No, that's what I'm thinking as well. They would want an end to this, but I think they want to inflict some more pain. Otherwise, you're going to have a similar war again in 6 months as well during negotiations, probably. But what do you see, though, the wider war strategy of Iran here? Because I was also a bit surprised by the civilian targets, that is airports, hotels. The foreign minister said we attacked hotels because they house American troops, but still, I've seen a lot of other civilian targets which didn't, it fits more within your analysis here. That is more about causing pain, but they jumped straight into the closing off the Strait of Hormuz. They attack ships, I think four oil tankers so far, if I'm counting correctly. So what is the strategy now of Iran? I mean, if you would sit down with
what
the
I
war
think is
planners,
that
what do you think they would say?
I think that they have calculated we're going to run this out for a number of months. That's my guess based on what they're doing. These things aren't short lived. These things aren't like, well, we're trying to do this and we'll ratchet up bit by bit to increase the pain. But if you back off at any time, so can we. This sounds like they have said, no, we're all in, and so we're going to shut down all the stuff we've been signaling we were going to do the stuff. You didn't believe us, and I'm sick of it. After 47 years of taking this kind of punishment from their perspective, I'm done. And so now then, new rules are in effect, and you're going to go by what
full-size SUV. The wheel makes contact and the hood collapses instantly. Glass shatters, roof caves in, there's simply no contest here. By the time the truck clears, the expedition is nothing but a flat. Watch what happens when this 400-ton haul truck rolls over a full-size SUV. The wheel makes contact and the hood collapses instantly. Glass shatters, roof caves in, there's simply no contest here. By the time the truck clears, the expedition is nothing but a flat. Watch what happens when this 400-ton haul truck rolls over a full-size SUV. The wheel makes contact and the hood collapses instantly. Glass shatters, roof caves in, there's simply no contest here. By the time the truck clears, the expedition is nothing but a flat. Watch what happens when this 400-ton haul truck rolls over a full-size SUV. The wheel makes contact.
taste some of the pain that we've been taking, because I think that they view this as a genuine existential crisis. And I think that they said, we're going to have to, it looks to me like in their councils, they must have calculated that we're going to suffer real bad for this. There's no doubt about it. But we're going to have a shot at having a positive outcome at the end, which is to drain the United States dry. The whole issue with the Russia-Ukraine war is that it's a war of attrition, and both sides have a lot of inputs, and so it's taken years, and they're still not there. As bad as Ukraine's been hit, they can still keep going. The United States, on the other hand, is not analogous to the Russian side in that one. We don't have that much capacity to just go for years like this. As a matter of fact, you heard General Jack Keane on the morning of the attack say, boasting that we could do this for 2 or 3 weeks. And he said, but maybe it'll be done faster because they assassinated the Ayatollah. And they said, well, now then maybe it won't even take that long. Well, if that's your planning range, what that was to me another major blunder of the United States to admit that we have a narrow window here. So what you're telling Iran, make sure you spread this out further than 3 weeks, because we're going to have a really hard time of maintaining enough, gasoline for our jets, bullets and bombs for our jets, the missiles, the air defense missiles, the air offense missiles, the attack missiles, all of those kinds of things. We don't have that many to just get into an indefinite expenditure here. We just don't have it. And however many Ukraine or Iran has, they also have limited. So it's not like they can go on also for years, but they can go for more than 3 weeks, I think they have calculated. And when you see these now increasing videos from Israel, and now then you see what I had feared about and was angry, and I'm angry about now, about the casualties of the United States, when those start to pile up, and believe me, they're going to do everything they can to accelerate those number of casualties in both places. People at home are going to start saying, wait a minute, why did you do this? Where's this quick victory? And especially if it drains out past 3 weeks, they're going, hang on, you guys said this would be an easy win, or that it would be something that we could get done. Now then, we have it, because Trump is now saying, hey, maybe within 3 days we can have a ceasefire and negotiation. But what if now it's the 4th day and the 5th day and there's still no sign? The bombs and missiles keep falling from the Iran side. Now they start getting into more stuff. When we start running low on air defense missiles as well, now, if they start pulling out, wave upon wave of, 300-400 at a wave of these Shahed drones, so that reportedly they have like tens of thousands of them, and they could do that for a long time. We haven't even seen any of those yet, not at scale. And we have seen some of the smaller number of drones get through American defenses, as it is at Bahrain in particular. There's one famous video that's out there. If you keep going down that path, and now all of a sudden we can't even stop drones because we're running low on air defense capabilities, and we start suffering even more casualties as the time goes on, then there's going to be incredible political pressure on both Jerusalem and Washington to start looking to something. And now then, I think, if you ask me what their objective was overall, I think from the Iranian side, is it to cause so much pain that now then we come back with, hat in hand and looking for a negotiated settlement that is much worse for us than the one that was on the table the night before all this from the Oman foreign minister. Now then, those deals are gone. They're never going to come back with those kind of generous terms again. Now then, they're going to be demanding a lot in return. They're going to be demanding drop in sanctions, change of designation, get rid of this terrorist designation, etc. I don't know that they'll trust us on anything, but if they get something like that, at least, a change of the negotiations and the sanctions, that could be a win for them, something that they might consider. But it's going to take a lot of pain on our side to get to that point, because the anger and the hatred is so high for them. And now then you have our arrogance has been challenged here. Because for us to admit that we're not strong enough to compel compliance from little Iran, that's going to be a major, major problem for our side. It's something that they won't do easily and will be fought fiercely among all these warlusters and these warmongers who loved all this and had been pleading with Trump to do it, and he finally gave in. You can imagine they'll continue on, and then, of course, then they'll blame Trump if he agrees to anything like this and say, oh, he just didn't have the stamina, he didn't have the stomach and the courage to keep going. We should have stayed. They'll blame everybody in the world except for themselves and see the disaster, that what they got, what they wanted, how much it cost us. But that's a lot of stuff on the table here, but that's kind of where I see this going, which means a lot more people are going to die and a lot more things are going to get blown up.
Were you surprised, though, that there was no gradual escalation ladder here, that they went out, all out so quickly? Again, this has been the end of day 2, and all these countries hit the Strait of Hormuz, the civilian targets. I mean, like you said, they're going all out. Did this take you by surprise?
It was 50-50. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't fully on board. I didn't think they would, like I said, they did go a little bit further than I thought, but it's logical. It's what I would have done, but based on their 47-year history, I didn't think they would. I thought that they would go bigger than they did in the 12-day war. I thought they would attack the U.S. bases, and I thought it was a coin flip on the Strait of Hormuz. I thought that might be a negotiating tactic that, all right, we'll ramp this up. But it looks like I said, now that it looks to me like, based on evidence, that in their councils of discussion before this started, that they said, no, we're all in. If the United States and Israel start this war, we're just all in. And so now then I think that their calculation is just, there's no more ramping up anything. Now that you've assassinated our Ayatollah, and in that same council meeting, it's now my assessment based on evidence that they said, hey, 86-year-old, he didn't have that much longer to live anyway. And I think he said, I'm not going into the tunnels. I'm not going to hide. I'm going to put myself right there where I'm always at every day. And when the bombs come, they're going to take me out at that time, use me as a martyr, and then use that to rally people in our country and around the other parts of Shia Islam. And it looks like that's succeeding, at least so far. And I've talked to one, and I've read that a friend of mine interviewed another Iranian who were just passionately against the Ayatollah and have protested against him in the past, and said, listen, y'all are putting us in a terrible situation because we hated the Ayatollah and wanted to get rid of that regime. We've been protesting for years in this case. And I've known this guy for well over a decade in my case. And then others have said the same thing, that, look, while we don't like him, but you think that we're going to embrace, Israel, our biggest enemy in the region, who's been doing all this stuff to us since like the 2010 Stuxnet and on forward, and assassinated people and our people in Tehran, blown up our embassies and stuff, and then now attacked us twice. You think that we're going to embrace what they're doing and we're going to succeed? No. And they're not going to come tell us that Reza Pahlavi is going to become the new leader of Iran. I mean, are you serious? That's who we rose up against in 1979, that family. There's no way they're going to take him back, that he's going to be able to govern any kind of coalition in Iran. At least that's my opinion. So they are angry at Israel, so they're not going to embrace it. So if our thought was that we'll cause enough mayhem and wound the leadership of Iran, then they'll rise up because we've killed a bunch of their people and done stuff, and then that's going to be good for us. Like Lindsey Graham, he's the biggest proponent of that. I think that they're angry at him too, because your assumptions were badly flawed, because now that they're in a bad position, they're not going to turn against their own country and embrace, what they've been calling the little Satan for 47 years, or the great Satan in our case. So I think that no matter what weird words comes out of Trump's mouth, like, oh, these great and wonderful people of Iran, we look forward to having them, because they said, listen, we know it's the same kind of language you guys have been using to everybody. You said that about the people in Libya. You said it about the people in Somalia. You said it about the people in Afghanistan, in Iraq, etc. You always say that kind of stuff, and then you walk away the minute it's unhappy. This is what they're saying. And so we know how that works out. We've seen this play before. So we know this is not about us, and you're going to not do anything for us once you get what you want, which is the loss of that regime. So that's another reason why they're not exactly falling all over themselves to do what we're asking them to do, and to basically become our boots on the ground so that we don't have to send in an army. I think that they're saying, yeah, you want an army? Bring an army. If you want to roll in and do this stuff, do it. Don't ask us to die in large numbers on the ground because you don't want to send in an army. And by the way, we don't even like you. So that's complicating our strategy too.
Yeah, it's so in the United States, there's many people who really hate Trump, who's some even moved away from the country because they don't like him. But even those people would not back, Chinese forces bombing Washington or New York. I mean, it is quite kind of crazy that this assumption that you can just sell this idea that, yeah, well, we're fighting with you guys, the people. This is a good way of weakening the opposition, if anything. I did want to ask you though about the vulnerability of the aircraft carriers and overall the U.S. Navy, because the Iranians seems to have their missiles seems to go through everywhere in hitting these bases almost in all the countries of the region. However, the U.S. Navy though, it seems to be, well, I'm not sure if it's been untouched. I haven't seen anything. Have the Iranians attempted, or is it simply beyond the reach?
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen one video that claims to be from some Chinese tourists or something like that, and I don't remember if it was Haifa or Tel Aviv somewhere, where they claim to show this grainy video of a U.S. ship getting hit. I don't know if there's so many deep fakes out there. You can't take anything at face value anymore, even really good looking videos. So I don't know. Certainly haven't heard any reports on that. I had heard that there were some reports of U.S. casualties killed in action earlier on in the process, like in the early hours. And the Pentagon, the Central Command, CENTCOM, said, no, there hasn't been any. Well, from some direct sources that some of my friends know, that they knew there were, but that's what they were saying. And then, of course, today they have confirmed that there were 3 killed, 5 seriously wounded, and a number of others less wounded. And my sources are saying even that number is not true. It's low. It's higher than that. So we can expect to see that coming out. So it's possible that there have been some, but then we haven't been reporting it so far. We're afraid of the news, because unlike all these where there's 10,000 cell phone cameras every time there's anything happening in the city, that's not the case out to sea. No one would know unless it's reported. So maybe there has, maybe there hasn't. I don't know. That has been one thing that surprised me. I expected to see that, but whether it hasn't happened or whether we just don't know about it yet, I can't really say at this point.
Well, how would you assess though the developments going forward in the next days and weeks? Again, this is a war of attrition then. That is, it should be assessed by the ability of each side to, cause pain to the other, and also the ability to absorb the pain? Or is this how you should understand the actions on both sides? Or is the United States more looking just for some a quick
ultimately it's a battle of wills. You can generally say that about every war, but this one even more so, because we chose to try this on the cheap. We said, let's bring all this naval and air power in, but no boots on the ground, because it's like a bugaboo in the United States. And there's many people, to include Senator Cotton, but Senator Cruz and Senator Lindsey Graham, they all repeatedly bragged about how there were no boots on the ground. Nobody was talking about that. President Trump said that because they know that that's something that American voters hate. So they thought, well, maybe we can win this on the cheap. And instead of like in 2003, when we had a lot of air and naval power and a credible ground force of hundreds of thousands of troops that, when it was necessary, rolled in on the ground. And so, if you're talking about President Trump telling the IRGC, the police forces, and the besieged and everybody else to put down your arms, well, that doesn't carry any weight if there's nobody there to make you do it. just bombs falling, and unless you have an army that can come and compel it, like the Iraqis did. When we said the same thing to them, and now here comes the 1st Armored Division rolling up the street, that's going to have some teeth. But this one here, there is no armored division. There's nobody on the ground whatsoever. So there's no reason for them to capitulate. They just like, all we have to do is survive the onslaught. And, and they know how many weapons we have, or they have a pretty good idea. They know that we have been bled, deeply, maybe not dry, but we've been bled deeply by all the support we've given to Israel since October 2023. They know that we've been bled because of the 4 years of nonstop sending stuff to Ukraine. And it doesn't matter that Trump hasn't given it away. He sold it, and we've still given, our inventory has gone down and our production has gone out there. So nothing was replaced that was lost during the Biden administration. It's continued to dwindle. And now all of a sudden you need it. And they know that, look, they piled up all this stuff for years, for decades, because they've always foreseen this being a possibility. We have no idea how many missiles that they actually have, how many drones that they actually have, because they're underground, and we can't count those. We can't go in with satellites, but we can imagine that they have a lot. Senator Ted Cruz today said that his understanding is that, this is today, that Iran can produce right now, with all of these sanctions and everything else and all these fires, all these attacks we've made, still 100 missiles per month. So whatever was lost in the 12-day war has been replaced, and we don't even know how many they had before that. I've heard wildly different assessments, but whatever it is, it's a decent amount, and that's on top of the tens of thousands of drones that they have. So I think that they have just said it's going to be a test of political will. Our will is going to say, we're going to keep this going beyond your 2-week window, and we're going to start spreading it out for like 2 or 3 months after that, when you're going to be hurting. Because if we now don't have very many air defense missiles, and we start getting like the Ukraine side is, where they have an inadequate number of Patriots and Iris-T and all the other kinds of air defense they have, and all of a sudden Russia can come and flood the zone with more missiles than they have interceptors, the stuff is going to get through. Iran could be in that same, weirdly enough, position of Russia, to where we use all of our the bulk of our interceptors, like the rate we have right now anyway, and all of a sudden, now then we can't knock that many down. And by the way, there was some pretty dramatic footage. I think we're going to show one of the scenes on our show this afternoon, of an American, reportedly an American videographer on one of I think it was on Bahrain, where they had the camera up there and they could see an incoming missile, and then you saw a Patriot interceptor fire up to intercept it, and you can see, because the angles were just flawless, it missed. The Patriot missed, and the other missile came in and just hit very close to where the guy was on the ground. I mean, that's day one. That was the first day that you're seeing we're already missing. Now imagine if you don't even have enough of those. And so now that instead the missile comes in and there is no defender, there's not even one missile going up. And you can see that now then you can start putting more and more of these lower cost drones in the air, because you can't knock those down in quantity either. So I think that the Iranian side is calculating, we're just going to increase the pain on you until you can't survive anymore. Our strategy, on the other hand, is like, oh, snap. I thought this was going to be done in a few days, and in a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then they would capitulate. So it's, and that's still the hope. They're still saying we do have a couple of weeks of really high intensity strikes that we can have, and there's a lot of pain that we can bring on the Iranian side. So I'm sure that we're going to continue on, along with Israel, to try and bring as much pain as possible, hoping that they can get them to that point. But if we get beyond that, and the Iranian side is still viable, and our side is now that we're down to our inventories of missiles, offensive and defense, are now in a smaller condition. It doesn't matter how powerful our Navy is, how many fighter jets we have, how many air Patriot missile batteries we have. None of that matters if you don't have the missiles. That's the key issue that too few people recognize. It's about the inventory of your offensive and defensive missiles. And it could be that Iran has more of them. It's certainly more to use here, without us making the rest of, unless we rape everything out of Indo-PACOM or everything else out of everywhere else in the world and bring them in here. And now then we're literally, empty-handed everywhere else. And that could be a real problem, but there'll be a temptation to do that. This could be a major, major problem for our side if it doesn't end within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so much for the pivot to Asia. This is this is the opposite of what Trump was going to do.
That's going to be the raping Asia to get what we need to fight here.
Yeah. Sorry, just a last very quick question though. You mentioned that the U.S. can exhaust itself. The Iranians can put a lot of pain on the United States. But what do you think is the most vulnerable area, though? Because if I was advising the Iranians, I would point out you have many pressure points you can push against the United States. You can hit the American assets of the region, that is all the military bases. You can hit the Gulf states, even the civilian targets, to make sure that these countries go through a lot of pain. Even oil refineries, well, whatever you want to go for. You can also go after the global economy, for example, shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, or shutting down some of the air traffic. You can also focus a lot on Israel, and as we speak, you have all these missiles raining over Jerusalem. So there's which area do you think is most likely to break first? Because
Yeah. This will tell us really where the Iranian mindset is right now. My guess is, based on what we've seen so far, is that they made a statement with firing in Dubai and Bahrain and some of these other cities. I think that they're like, okay, message sent and received. I think that we told you that. But now that I think, because quantity is an important thing, I think now they'll turn it to the more higher value targets that they have. And I think that is, for the United States, I think that pressure point is casualties. I think that they cause it because there's already been a lot of anger in the U.S. Social media space, even at some high levels, about the casualties that have started here. So I think that they'll prioritize anything that's going to be high casualty producing on the United States throughout the region at all of our bases, and maybe they'll start going after the ships. I don't know. And then the same thing in Israel. I think that they'll go after casualty producing capabilities. I think they're going after the military first, especially anything with the intelligence. They'd love to go after those. And I had seen some reports that they did go after some intel facilities inside of Jerusalem, to try and cause some degradation of their ability to track anything that's going on inside of there. And of course, if they can go after missile launchers on the Israeli side, or their aircraft, that would be a high value target. Same with the United States Air Force. If they could knock those out, if they could knock out the tankers, that's a big thing too, because that will limit our ability to even use the fighter jets that we have. But I think that depending on what we do would be what they do next. If we don't go after the Iranian oil infrastructure and their energy supplies and their refineries, et cetera. And I haven't seen any reports that we get that yet. Maybe we have, and I just didn't see it. But if we start going after that, especially at scale, and we can, it's a fixed target, it wouldn't be that hard, then I think you're going to see Iran also start to pivot, because I think that part of the signal also, I would imagine, what I would do, when I hit all of these civilian targets, I can say that's bad for you. And like, I think it was Qatar. There was, I think it was Qatar anyway, or may have been Dubai, where they hit a high profile hotel in the middle of the city for which tourists and other things. They hit an airport. But they're like, we could also hit something else that's important to you, and that is your oil infrastructure. We can hit your refineries. We can hit your their transfer stations at the ports, etc. We could cause profound damage that would take a long time to fix, and come at much, much higher costs for the kingdoms themselves. But I don't think they'll do that unless we go after theirs. And so if we try to ramp this up to bring more pain on the Iranian side, then I think you can see an expansion. So you talk about the escalation ladder. I think the escalation ladder started on rung 4 or 5, but there are still rungs above it that it can go to. So there is some room left to escalate. And I hope we don't get there, but those are the things I'm worrying about.
What was the point of this again? Kill the supreme leader? So, what the fuck did he do exactly? What is this gonna fucking accomplish, by the way?
Josie. You wanna go see Josie? He's your best friend. Where's Josie, honey? Oh, you wanna go see Josie?
Hey, good morning, buddy. Good morning, baby boy. Putting up a strong fight. Oh, it's okay. I know.
Quit lifting your head, goofball.
Siempre hay que cenar guacalao.
Taking it slow. Not sure where his legs are, but he's good.
Junie.
This was my dog waking up from anesthesia.
He's a good boy, Stan. Good boy.
Are you okay?
Remy, you okay? Remy, you okay? You good?
Doors. Mars. Mars. Come here, big boy. Oh.
Buddy. Oh my goodness. It's okay. You're all right, honey. It's okay. You're fine. Josie. You wanna go see Josie? He's your best friend. Where's Josie, honey? Oh, you wanna go see Josie?
Hey, good morning, buddy. Good morning, baby boy. Putting up a strong fight. Oh, it's okay. I know.
Quit lifting your head, goofball.
Siempre hay que cenar guacalao.
Taking it slow. Not sure where his legs are, but he's good.
Junie.
This was my dog waking up from anesthesia.
He's a good boy, Stan. Good boy.